Hello and welcome to the Ladbrokes NRL Preview Show. I'm Roger Oldridge. Joining me is the man himself, the former Brisbane Bronco, Queensland Maroon, and also Australian Kangaroos representative, Jharal Yow Yeh. G'day, mates.
How are you, Rog?
I'm going very well, and the first edition of the Ladbrokes NRL Preview Show. Let's explain to the viewers what we're going to do here. We're going to run you through every game, where the money's going. We're going to cross to the Resident Rainman to get the key stats.
Ooh,
and
I love
then
the Rainman.
This man is going to give you his thoughts to hopefully guide you into a few winners this weekend. So, Jharal, it's Magic Round, one game down already. Let's kick off now with the Tigers and also the Panthers. And while the bookies can't split them, it's $1.90 each of two. And the punters are keeping their powder dry because we haven't seen a huge amount of early action in this game. Let's cross to the Resident Rainman to get his stats before we get your views on the game. Rainman.
Penrith Panthers do have a recent edge over the Tigers. They've won the past 5 games between these two sides, and the Panthers have not lost 5 games on the trot since 2017.
Well, there you have it, Jharal. They haven't lost 5 since 2017,
Wow.
according to the Rainman. So, look, do we think it's going to happen here? Because, I mean, West have been a bit up and down.
Yeah, look, and I think when a team comes to Suncorp, they always get up, especially when they play up. We've never done a Magic Round before, but I think Penrith haven't been very lucky up here either. So the West Tigers have had a few good games up here in the past couple of years, so they must love the Brisbane crowd more than Penrith do. And having a few of their players back as well, the Tigers, I just think they might extend that 2017 drought and put them away.
Well, there we have it. It is the Tigers for Jharal Yow Yeh. Let's move on now to the next game, and this is a game where I'm pretty sure I know where your tip's going to go here, Jharal. It's the Broncos and Manly. It's an away game for the traditionally home team, the Brisbane Broncos, at Suncorp Stadium. Rainman, what are the key stats here, mate?
As Jharal knows only too well, it's been a very tough start to the season for the Broncos. If they lose this game, it'll be the first time they've started a season 2-7 since 1999. It is another danger game. Manly being a very profitable betting play over the past 12 months, especially as away underdogs.
Yeah, well, the money's come for Manly, Jharal, and that's not surprising because your Broncos have been ordinary. And as Rainman said, Manly's been a really solid betting play as an outsider. Why should the punters back the Broncos?
Oh, look, to be honest, I think Api Coruscant is playing in the halves this week. Look, I know he's a great hooker, but I just don't think he has the potential to be able to carry the team around the park. Obviously, they're a great side, Manly. And I know, obviously being inside the Broncos, that they're up for a big game this week. It is Magic Round. We are playing away, so which means we're in the away sheds. We'll be a little bit ticked off from that as well. So I think my boys are going to be up, and obviously I'm going to go for the Broncos, but that's my reasons.
Alrighty. Okay, this isn't exactly a thrilling game on paper, Jharal, but it could be because two pretty ordinary sides. It's the Bulldogs and the Knights that square off here. And look, the punters early have been backing the Bulldogs as an outsider, and that's not surprising, but it's fair to say head-to-head action hasn't been great in the betting. Rainman, what are the key stats here?
Bulldogs have won the past 5 games between these two sides, and the Knights have won only 2 of their past 6 games as favourites.
Now, Jharal, the Knights have, they've come good in the last couple of weeks. So, look, the potential is there, I suppose, for them to string a few good performances together. Canterbury, as we know, they're the favourite for the most losses market. But, as we heard from the Rainman, have got the wood over the Knights. In saying that, the Knights have really stunk it up in the last few years.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with the Knights. I think Dean Pay's really changed his team around a little bit. He's dropped a few key players this week, and I think the Bulldogs will really struggle with that change. They need those players. I think Corey Harawira has been dropped, which is huge because he's played outstanding at the start of the year from a losing side they've been in. So, look, I think Newcastle will run away with this. I do like the kid Kalyn Ponga. Honestly, I think he's a superstar.
Hard not to like him,
not just
isn't it?
because he's a Queenslander either, Rog, but I honestly think he's just a superstar in the making. And if anyone's going to light up Suncorp this weekend on Magic Round, I think it's Kalyn Ponga.
All right, well, there we have it. It's Kalyn Ponga and the Knights to get the win there. Let's go to the Warriors and the Dragons. And, the Warriors are punters' poison, and it's no surprise to see that the punters have been steering clear of them this weekend, travelling to Suncorp for their home game, up against the Dragons, who are a pretty solid favourite. And, Rainman, should they be?
Rog, actually looking at the total points market for this one, the under has saluted in 7 of the past 9 meetings between these two sides. And if you've backed the under in games involving either of these teams over the past 12 months, you'll be well in front.
All right, well, you heard those stats. What are your thoughts, Jharal?
Some very good stats from the Rainman. I love the Rainman stats, but I think purely because what I've seen the Warriors play their football at Suncorp Stadium, I just think they're going to be too good for the Dragons. Obviously, we have.
It's a good price.
I know. I think they have. I've got a good couple of mates who play for the Dragons, but I think having someone like Cody Nikorima come into their side as well will boost them, because they've been looking for that key player to come in. Obviously, a late switch here from the Broncos to the Warriors. I think there's so much support at Suncorp Stadium for the Warriors. I just think they're going to be too good.
Their fans do travel, and they do travel well, so they will get that support.
Their crowd is louder than our supporters when we play at Suncorp, the Warriors. So I think that'll get them home.
I'll tell you who else will be well supported, and they play the ground really, really well, and that is my Melbourne Storm up against Parramatta. I'm concerned though, Jar. I am worried. Look, I think Parramatta are a good price at about $2.80 in the market. The Storm have not been playing well lately. The money is with Melbourne slightly, but certainly Parramatta's getting some love as an underdog. Rainman, what are the key stats in this one we should be looking at?
The Storm absolutely love Suncorp Stadium. They've won 9 of their past 10 games at the venue, and they face a Parramatta Eels side that's won back-to-back games only twice in the past 12 months.
I love the 9 of 10 stat, Jharal, because it means that the Storm have had good victories over the Broncos, which always means that I can give you grief about that.
Yeah, and you always do.
Exactly. But look, as we said, Parramatta have been playing some good football of late, and the Storm haven't been at their best. Would you be taking that bet as an outsider on the Eels?
I would be. I would. I think Melbourne are in a little bit of a crisis at the moment. I think
crisis is
not
a strong word.
Well, it is for Melbourne, because you've never seen
you lose
them.
one game, we're in crisis.
No, not just that. The playing group on the field. You see them argue last week and how they were. I've never seen that from Melbourne
Cam
before.
Smith has played that down. He said there's nothing to worry about.
Well, as you would, as you're the captain, you have to. Look, I love Smithy. I think Cameron Munster is a superstar of the game as well, and he's probably my pick for the Dally M this year. I think he wins that. The reason why I think Parramatta win is they go down to their stadium. They know what it's like to play at a big one now. They're a huge stadium. I think Clint Gutherson's really chasing the money. He really wants to show Parramatta what he's worth. He played outstanding last week. I think their forwards really show that they are very agile and they can pass the ball, which really gets Melbourne struggling to defend, and I think that's what's going to beat them. If the forwards can, if the Parramatta forwards can beat the Melbourne Storm, I think it's a massive upset. And where the money's going, I think I'd be going that way. Well,
the money in this game isn't going with the outsider, and this game being the Roosters and the Raiders. Punters are absolutely loving the tricolours, and why wouldn't you? They're in terrific form at the moment. But I see the Raiders as being a possible threat, and at $3, I think are a chance to cause a bit of a boil over. But that's just my view. Let's check in with stats, and the Resident Rainman has no doubt got some beauties for us. Tommy?
Recent history actually agrees with you, Roger. The Raiders have won the past 3 games between these two sides, but in saying that, the Roosters have won 16 of their past 20 games as favourites.
That's a fairly strong stat there on the Roosters, but and that's because they've been favourites in pretty much every game they've played, and we've seen them not just take down good sides lately, but take them down in absolute style. They look awesome.
To be honest with ease, I think the Roosters will be one of the teams to possibly go close to going back to back grand finals this year. I can't go past them. I think Latrell Mitchell's playing like Greg Inglis when he first came on the scene. He is the new Greg Inglis. And I take that nothing away from Luke Keary and Cooper Cronk, who are in the middle and they're organising the game very well. But you give that boy early ball, it's hard to stop him. And unfortunately, whoever's on their left, whoever's on the Raiders' right edge is really going to have their hands full. And I just think the Roosters.
I'll tell you who doesn't like Latrell Mitchell, and that is our bookmakers, because he has scored the first try in the last 3 games and has been sensationally backed in all of them. They do not want Latrell crossing first 4 weeks in a row, because there is an absolute truckload of money on him already to score first try. So it's going to be a big day for the Roosters, you'd think. And if Latrell can go 4 weeks in a row scoring the first try,
yeah, that's going to be
worrying
for the
very worrying for the bookmakers. Last game of Magic Round is, of course, the Bunnies and the Cowboys. Before we get your thoughts on that one, I can tell you the money is with the Rabbitohs, who are looking better than bank interest the last few weeks, and that's where the punters been going. They've been one of the best backed, if not the best backed team over the past 3 weeks. The Resident Rainman will not want them to salute this week, because they are up against his North Queensland Cowboys. But Tom, have you found any reason for us to back the boys from up north?
Sadly, Roger's not looking great for my Cowboys. The Rabbitohs won both games between these two sides by a single point last season, and the Cowboys have won only 3 of their past 16 games as underdogs.
Both games last season by a single point, Jharal. So do we take the Bunnies at the line? No, take the Cowboys at the line, sorry.
No. Not in this one. Not in this one. The Rabbitohs are playing out of their skin. I think the movement of Wayne Bennett is great. It was great for the Rabbitohs. As you've seen, he came to the Broncos, changed a lot of things there, and they played their first year with him, went to a grand final. I think the Rabbitohs and the Roosters could probably go close to making the grand final this year, and I think Cody Walker's form is outstanding. He's probably one of the best on the field at the moment in the NRL, and I just can't go. Unfortunately for all my North Queensland boys that play out there, which are a lot now because a lot of the Broncos players have gone there. For all my boys
got to
who
build
watch
a wall.
this, the Cowboys boys, sorry lads, but I know they play well, obviously the Cowboys at Suncorp Stadium, because they've had so many rivalry with the Broncos and gone down to the wire. But I just can't see how the Rabbitohs ruin this one and stuff this one up. They're playing outstanding footy, and when you're led by a forward pack by Sam Burgess, it's really hard not to win them. So I'm going the Rabbits.
Yeah, just about my lock of the week, the Rabbits. Well, Jharal, thanks very much for
thanks
your
for
time
us,
today. That's the first edition of the Ladbrokes NRL Preview Show. We've got the stats, we've got the cash, and we've got the superstar. This is where you've got to come for all your needs on where to punt this weekend in NRL. We'll be back next week, round 10 of the NRL.